Hello, my name is Isabella Greene. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to sit very casually on my porch here and talk to you about a subject that can be quite sensitive, especially for those who recently lost their loved ones. But I wanted to share with you my mystical experiences with the spirit of my father who passed away recently, about a month ago. My father was an atheist, and he did not believe in any afterlife or any possibility to have a contact with anyone after he passes. And I promised him, while he was still alive, I told him, I said, "Dad, watch out, we're going to connect way more after you pass. And I'm going to make sure that that happens." And so, synchronistically enough, I worked with a client who was grieving the passing of her father, and I recommended to her to look into the work of Sonia Rinaldi, who created this incredible device that allows you to connect beyond the veil. Images show up and voices show up. And I was joking, actually, and I said, hey, make that device, and when my father passes, I'll make that device too. Well, what do you know? He passed 3 days later. And as soon as I got the news, I went into the deep meditation and I started seeking his spirit. I thought, he's not far away yet, he just passed, so I'm going to go ahead and fulfill my promise to him that, hey, you know what? You'll see that we can connect even better and even more often when you are out of that old body. And so within literally, I don't know, a few minutes, I located him. I'm able to connect and sometimes have communication with the people who are passed on through pictures. But here, because I knew him so well, I was just seeking what it feels like. I was seeking his spirit, and I kept calling him. I was saying, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? What's going on? How are you doing? And all of a sudden, when I got in a really, really deep meditative state, that this in-between, like, I don't know, that's called theta state, I think, when I wasn't fully awake, wasn't fully asleep, and I was in between, his voice came in clear as day, and he said, oh, it's good, I'm young again, and I'm doing good, just feel really bad about mom. Yeah, mom didn't take it lightly. They were married for 50 years. So and he passed suddenly. He literally went to take a nap in the afternoon, and mom came and kissed him, and at that moment he died. So as I established that connection with him, so I kept asking him where he was, what was going on with him. Because I wanted to kind of follow him and know like where he's at and what his journey is. Might be. And then I started going through my own grieving process, which is also very important. Circumstances had it that I wasn't working and I wasn't running, and I had to be flat on my back regardless, and so there was a perfect environment for me to process everything that we've been through. And I went all the way back into as far back as I remember. Let's say some time ago in a different meditation when my dad was still alive, I had a moment where I remembered I had a vision, I had a connection with the spirit of my mom and my dad before they even met, and my own spirit in a different reality where we agreed that they are going to get together to facilitate my entry into this world. And it was such a beautiful reality. I remember it felt like being inside the rainbow. And so I went as far back as there, and from that space I kept, because I thought, hey, I saw my father's spirit in that vision, so he's probably back into that same space. And so I started remembering everything that I could about him. So I remembered all of the good stuff and all of the not so good stuff and all of the judgment that I had towards him throughout my whole life. And so I was going through a very deep grieving process and sorting things out. And I had a feeling that he cannot quite go, he cannot pass and release this reality as long as I'm holding on to any sort of judgment and something is not forgiven. Although I've done a lot of inner work with the parents and ancestral stuff, but I still, as I started going through this all the way back from the moment of conception and on, I noticed that there was maybe about 10% of still not entirely have forgiven, mostly about who he was and his relationship with my mom. And she fed fire she fed that a lot. So there was about 10% that I observed within me, which I didn't realize until that point, that I still have not forgiven. And so I went through all of it. It took hours just to remember every little detail about him. And I arrived at the place where I felt incredible sense of forgiveness. All is forgiven. And then I said, I forgive, I let go. I let you go. You can go. And then I found an incredible sense of gratitude for everything that he's been for me, everything he's done for me. And then at the bottom of all that, I experienced this, suddenly understood the depth of parental love. That love, regardless of how funky the relationship might be, but there is this love that they have for us from the moment we're born, from our first breath until their last breath. And once they're gone, that love is gone as well. That's the type of love we don't experience anywhere else. That's the kind of love that bonds the parent with the child. And I don't have children, so I'm not familiar with it, but I got to experience it throughout this process of grieving. And once I got to that point, it was middle of the night, it was dark in the room, and I started crying really hard. That was the first time that I started crying, because Dad was talking back to me. So I was like, hey, he's right here. But here, it just that feeling, that separation, and letting him go and finding that closure. But I started crying really hard in a dark room, and all of a sudden, when your eyes are closed and someone turns on the light in the room and you can see it, right? So I saw that golden light come on in the room, and I opened my eyes through my tears, and there was no light. It was completely black. And so I closed my eyes, and I went back to crying, and the light went on again, and this time I didn't open my eyes. And I just stopped crying. And I heard him clear as day, and he said, I am right here. I didn't go anywhere. I am right here. And at that moment I said, go. You can go. I let go. I forgive. I'm grateful for everything that you are. And that vision turned into something else. So all of a sudden I saw him in my inner vision. First was that light and his voice, and then I saw him, and he was that rainbow color. He was that transparent rainbow figure, young self, maybe about 30 years old or something. And he was standing on that transparent rainbow kind of road that led to a big golden gateway or a big golden portal, like a shimmering circle of golden light in space. And he was looking at me, and I said, "Dad, I'll come with you." And he said, "Not your time yet, but you can walk with me." And so he turned around and started walking towards that shimmering golden portal, and I felt that I'm right next to him. Like I got his arm, and we walked all the way to that portal, and then he stepped in there, and I was right back into my room. So there was that. And for a while I let him be, because I figured that it's important for the soul to settle in their new state of being. He just went through the portal, he's in the soul space. But then he came right back. So he started talking back to me in his typical manner and clear as daylight. I had a candle burning for 7 days, and I had his picture, and so I would go and talk to that picture, and it felt like he was looking right back at me. And there was a moment where I went into intense like self-pity. Oh my God, how am I gonna be now? What am I gonna do now? So I went to the picture, and I literally was kind of seeking that comfort in, or I don't know, for him to support my moment of falling apart there. And I said, "Dad, how am I gonna live from now on?" And he said, "Oh, clear as daylight, sharp, right in my ear, or right in my mind." I heard his voice, and he said, "Same as you did before." And that just snapped me right out of that state of being. And I was like, "All right, thank you, thank you." That was the 7th day. And I took the candle down and the picture, and then he just started coming into my dreams. And I literally see him in my dreams now every single day. And for a month, it's been a month, and I'd be dreaming about all kinds of things. And Dad is just kind of like sitting on the side there, and in my dreams, I give him like high five, I see you, hi, I see you. And so this whole point of this sharing is that they're not as far as we think they are. I know it's devastating, and just the empty space that happens after a loved one is passed on. That's the most painful moment, but they are in a good place. He said, "Oh, I'm young again, I'm in a good place." It just is so sad about Mom. So if the relatives are not able to let go of them, it makes it more challenging for the soul to find that peace. But you can talk to the ones who passed on. And if my method was just, I didn't even use the picture at first. My method was just like screaming out into space in my deep meditation to call him in. And he showed right up, because you have that connection, whether it's your loved one, your partner, or your mom or your dad, you have the connection with them, soul to soul. And so you can just tune into how that soul feels and call on to them. And it's not you thinking it up. You're not dreaming up that voice. They clearly can communicate with you if you allow them to. Sometimes if you don't hear the voice, you might hear the song that makes sense or is a message from them. Or some people see specific birds show up, or there are many different ways that the other side communicates with us. And hey, if all that fails in your own efforts, check out the work of Sonia Rinaldi. I will put that in description there so that you could follow her. There's a documentary about her work with Sandra Champlain's website. So I'll put these links there for you, and maybe you can make that kind of device. But the idea is that there are many layers of connection through dream time, through hearing them or speaking to them in your meditation. You have to be in a calm, relaxed space when your heart is not so broken, when you're not hurting so much. As soon as you, like my mom cannot hear him at all because mom is in devastated state, understandably. But as I was calm enough, I was able to receive communication. So communication comes through when you are not blocking it with that much pain. Perhaps some time will go by, and you will find that communication with your loved ones. But they are within reach. They are within reach. Use a picture. I use photographs, and very often, even with complete strangers, I'm able to enter. If you go through pictures that you have of that person, you might notice that one of these would be as if they're talking right back, as if they're like right there. And that's the picture, that's the entry point. And then there are mediums. I don't channel passed on people. I can receive messages, but I don't channel in real time. But there are people who do that too, and I guess that's easy enough. So I wanted to share this with you, very personal experience, but I hope that this gives you a different perspective on what it is that happens when they leave the body. And one more thing I want to add to that, as far as relationship with the parents. If at all possible, find a way to forgive them while they're still alive. Even that tiny 5%, 10%, something you might be holding on that you have not yet forgiven. Once you let go of that, it will change your relationship with them while they're still around. And perhaps you will be able to experience the entire depth of that parental love that does not exist anywhere else while they are still right next to you. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate you following me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I bring you all kinds of information on my channel, and I'll see you next time. Take care now. Namaste.